Alright, so I'm going to do a couple of the problems that you needed, and these were problems that a lot of kids had questions about, so I will record as much as I can without giving away the answer, and then go from there. So number 9 on the chapter 5, I should probably put that up there, chapter 5 test, oops, you're going to have to bear with that, is 7/8, okay? Your goal is to write the fraction of the mixed number as a percent, so we have to remember, if we're going to get it as a percent, this is going to be our answer. We have to get this over 100. So a couple different ways you can do it is just think of it like that. How many times can 8 go into 100? However, 8 doesn't equally go into 100. So you have to figure out a different way to go about. That's why if you did a ratio table and you did the middleman that we talked about a little bit. Sorry, my sloppy finger writing. So now you have to pick a number here. Let me find a pointer here. I haven't used this in a really long time. There we go. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. Okay, found my pointer. So you have to find a number that goes here that can go into 100. So we talked in class before, you could use 1 anytime you want. You could use a number that can go into both 8 and 100, which would be 2, etc. Remember, whatever you do to the top, okay, or I'm sorry, the bottom, you do to the top. So this will be your final answer. Okay, number 14. This is the one where it says find the percent of the number. The answer is not actually a percentage, but if I have 17% of 40, you remember you can just do your simple drop down of all 3 of these. Okay, and this is what we did the extra notes page for, so hopefully you're checking your notes and you're going over this stuff. But you have 17 over 100. The of means multiply, and the 40 stays the same. So now I can make that into a fraction and then you solve. So whatever you solve for, okay, that's your answer. Alright, so numbers 18 and 19. For 18 it says, what percent of the Cougars' first downs were by passing? Number 19, which team had a smaller percent of first downs by penalty? So let's work on number 18 first. So percent of Cougars, so let me get my pointer out again. So I've got Cougars over here. Okay, these are all their information. Remember, this is just a table. It's not a ratio table or anything special like that. What percent of the Cougars' first downs were by passing? So I take my 6. This is my total number of first downs. So I've got, get my writing tool back out. So if I have 6 out of 16 passes, or were first downs from passing. So what that means is I just need to find out what that percentage is. So in order to do that, it turns into a problem just like number, what was that, 10, 11, and 9 and 10 on your test. So again, we just have to go from here to here, which might be using a middleman with a ratio table, if that's the way you like to do it. My hundreds over here. What do I put in, well, this is the space that we're getting their answer from. And this is the space we have to figure out. So what number goes into 16 and 100? So go from there on that one and try and figure out number 18. Okay, let's do number 19. It says, which team had a smaller percent of first downs by penalty? So let's look at Cougars first. So Cougars, a pointer. I think there's Cougar pointers on here. Oh yeah, look at that one. Okay, whoa. Penalty, they had 2 out of 16. Penalty, Gators had 1 out of 20. So we have to make that comparison. The comparison that they're asking you to make is which one has, let's go back here, smaller percentage of first downs by penalty. What I would do is I would take and do a ratio table. So maybe make penalties and first downs and do a comparison with both teams. We'll call this one Cougars, we'll call this one Gators. So we know that their penalty is 2 out of 16 first downs, and this one is 1 out of 20 first downs. Okay, we might not have to do much over here on this side now that I think about it. But basically, we want to get their numbers. We want to be able to compare. Okay, so if you're going to compare something with these two numbers, why not compare with a unit rate? Okay, so how would I get over here to get this one to 1? Well, that's easy. You divide by 2. Whatever I do there, I got to do here. So now this number, I can make my comparison with the answer you just found with 1/20th, because both of these numbers, find my pointer, this one's the same and this one's the same. So now I can make that comparison and see which one's a smaller number, but now I need to make them into a percentage just to double check. Is it cougars or gators? Because depending on the number that you get here, I gotta change that. That's driving me nuts. Hold on. Go back to that. Okay. Depending on the number you get here, you might not be able to compare it very well unless you make it both out of 100. So my recommendation is once you figure out this one, what is it as a percentage? What's that one as a percentage? So compare this number to this number. That should get you your answer. Hopefully this helped. Was there? Let me make sure there wasn't one more. Okay, there's another one. So let me explain 21. All right, so number 21 that had an A and a B. Whoa, that's not a B, but whatever. I don't care. It says in a class, 60% of the students are girls, and there are 18 girls in the class. It says how many students are in the class, how many boys are in the class. So it already tells us that we have 18 girls, and we know that 60%, wowzers. I wish I had my little pen thing. I don't have it anymore. 60% are girls. Okay? So with that information, we can figure out how many kids are in the class very easily. Okay, sorry. I'm going to set this up just a little differently. I was looking back at it. So I want you to notice something. We had, if you go back up to your test and you look at numbers 11, 12, 13, and 14. 11 and 12 say find the percent of the number. Numbers 13 and 14 say find the whole. Well, if you look at the wording here, 60% of students are girls, and there are 18 girls. We need to figure out how many students there are, so that becomes the whole. So what we have is basically a problem like we've been working on. If I were to set this up just like number 13 on your test, it would look like this. 60% of what number is 18? Remember, we're finding the whole. So if that's the truth, we have to remember we can do it a couple different ways. We can bring over our 18, then we divide it by 60 over 100. So that's one way that I taught you how to do it, where we remember we did leave it, change it, flip it. Okay, so that's one way you can do it, turn that into a fraction. Or you could do it the other way with the ratio table. Or you can do it this way, where you can set it up this way and solve your problem. So either way would work, but that once you get those answers, that's how many students are in the class. How many boys are in the class? Now you're just flip-flopping what you just did. So I'm going to go to my next page. So we did it like this, where we had our part, our whole, and our 60 out of 100, which is our percentage of 60%. This number is our girls because it's just part of our class. So your job would be to figure out what this number would equal, and that would tell us the total number of students. Okay, so you can do it that way. Let me see if I can go back while I record. I think I can. If I'm just trying to find my boys, well, I've got a part and I have a whole. Okay, I know that there are, well, actually, you don't even have to do that, do you? Once you figure out the total number of students, you just take your number of girls and subtract it from the number or your students and subtract it from the number of girls you have. So there's definitely some easy ways to go about this, but I know it can be confusing when you don't have everything right in front of you and you don't have me to ask questions. So I'm really hoping that this helped you out, and if you have questions, please let me know, and we'll go from there. All right, we'll talk soon.